friends, welcome back to our channel. Today, I thought it would be fun for us to chat about a bunch of products that I am decluttering from my collection for various reasons, and then also talk about some items that I have on my horizon for the chopping block, ones that I want to make a concerted effort to test out. I tend to find that around the fall, as I get back into my pretty regular makeup routine, especially coming off of this summer where I hardly wore any makeup, very abnormal for me, I am itching to scrutinize my collection and kind of get a feel for things that I think I maybe don't want anymore or to rediscover them. And so that is how I tend to declutter, is I tend to, as I sit down, I'm kind of in a mood and I pull a few things or a couple of things that I feel like need a second once-over application to my face. And based on that application, I'll decide to keep it or not. I'm not really somebody who just looks at their collection and can kind of pick and choose things that I don't want. I'm very much got to have an experience, a very fresh experience with it. And for a lot of these items, I hadn't ever used them before, or they're things that have been kicking around for a while and I just don't remember them. So let's go ahead and start with the declutter items. So the first thing that I'm decluttering is an eyeshadow palette. I, at the start of the year, showed you guys my collection and then pointed out some palettes that I felt like I needed to really scrutinize because I wasn't entirely convinced I wanted to keep them in my collection. They weren't like go-tos or palettes that I found myself really wanting to use. And as the year has gone on, I have just decided that I really don't like this palette, or it's not really in my wheelhouse of preferences anymore. And that is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This is a really hard one for me to admit because I remember this palette was hard to come by. It sold out a couple of times. They brought it back. They then like went all in on the peach theme and did a bunch of stuff for this particular collection. But this palette was hard for me to acquire. And I look at it and I think it's really pretty. And I always will go to pull it and be like, today's the day, use the Sweet Peach palette. And I just look at the shades and don't feel inspired and don't really know where to go with it. And I think if I'm being honest, the reason for that is I don't think these types of peachy shades look very good on me. They tend to pull very almost orange on my face. Like they sort of over the course of the day started to look like I just took orange eyeshadow and put it on my eyes. It's not cute. And then if I think about the rest of it, it's a lot of like neutral stuff that I have in so many different formulas that I'm really attracted to that I don't ever think of this one. And I'm never really pulled towards these darker shades over here. So I just think I bought into the hype of this palette. And if I hadn't gotten caught up in that and I had really sort of better understood at the time that this came out, better understood my makeup preferences, I would not have purchased this. So I'm going to finally part with it. And I think this marks the end of my like Too Faced collection, which is it's like a big moment for me because Too Faced was the first high-end like eyeshadow palette I had ever owned. I had the Naked Eye, which is an OG. They now call it the Natural Eye, but I had it in like the cardboard packaging. I used that entire palette up. Like I loved it. My sister still has it, which is very questionable because it's real old, but she doesn't wear much makeup hardly ever. So she wears it for special occasions. And then I was like really into Too Faced. I would say it then was Urban Decay and it then became Lorac. And you guys can see in my collection in my project pans, I've mostly been very much still infatuated with Lorac shadows, but Too Faced, man, they had a hold on me. And this palette, as much as I wanted to love it, I just didn't. So we're putting Too Faced to rest from my collection. And they haven't been interesting to me for years. So I don't see myself going to them anytime soon, but who knows? I have another like eyeshadow face all-in-one type of palette. This is the I'm Mimi Multi-Cube. This was something that was sent to me from Stylevana and I think my first box with them. And this is awesome. It is a very compact little product, but you've got 4 eyeshadows here, and then underneath you have a blush. You also get a tiny little mirror in there. And I love the idea of this, but you can kind of probably see it has similar tones to what I'm getting from the peach palette. Like it just pulls a little too orangey pink on me. It's not, I think, the most attractive, and there's only so many places I can go with the 4 shades. And the blush isn't my go-to blush color. So as much as I love the idea of this, and if they had a different variety of colors, the last time I had checked the Stylevana site, this was all they had. But if they ever came out with like a neutral one where you basically just had those taupey browns, I would be all in on this. But this one, I really haven't reached for it since doing my review. And even though I like the quality of the product in here, it's just a matter of not being the best shades for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this go. We have some more lip products. Despite my massive clean out that I did about a month ago, 6 weeks ago at this point, I have a few more that I'm parting with. The first comes from Fortune Cookie Soap. This came in my Easter box. It was the Oh Snap Lip Mask. Here's my issue with these. They are not emollient. Like I can dig and dig and dig my finger in here and I just don't get any product on my finger. It's so difficult to work with and fuss with. So I just have not found that they are soft enough for my preferences for me to want to use them. So I tried it. It's the same texture. Going forward, I'm not even gonna open or keep lip masks. I'll pass them on to somebody else because I just seem to not like their formula. And I've seen it now, I think 3 or 4 times. New to my collection that I'm decluttering is from Rare Beauty. This year I decided to go with the Rare Beauty birthday gift that Sephora was offering. And so it came with the Confident Matte Lip Cream. This is not a shade for me. This is one of those moments where I want desperately to like this shade, but it just doesn't look good on me. It's too deep mauve leaning, and that just doesn't work for my complexion. Like it's just too stark. It pulls really heavy on me. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. Another one that I'm letting go of, I'm actually really sad about. It's from L'Oreal. It's the Glossy Balm in the shade 210 Ginger Candy. This I got in some box. I didn't buy this, but I really love the texture of this. I love the way it looks. I actually really like this color. I don't think I would have bought it for myself on my own, but I really, really like this. But when I went to wear it, it just smells off. Like it doesn't smell good anymore. And I only really wear these types of colors in the summer. Like that's the only time I wear these types of looks where I feel like this is the kind of lip color that I want. So I'm letting it go simply because it's expired, and I don't even know if they still make these, but if they do, I feel like I'd be real into it. It's very much a hybrid of a like glossy lipstick, which I really like the idea of. So big fan of this, sad that it's gone, but I have to acknowledge the truth sometimes. Final lip product that I'm saying goodbye to is from Physicians Formula. This is the Maru Maru Butter Soaking Up the Sun product that they came out with. I think it was from like I think I bought like a little box that had a bunch of Maru or like butter bronzer-esque things. And these are tricky. This is similar to Ginger Candy in the sense that like it's one of those types of peachy types of tones that I'd wear, but these are very messy. They basically are a colored lip balm that just slip and slide all over the place, and I'm not down for it. So I decided that I didn't want to continue on my journey with this product. I have a few shiny products that I am getting rid of. The first is a highlighter. This comes to us from e.l.f. It's the Rose Gold highlighter. This was like a free gift with purchase, and on examination, very, very pretty. I literally can't. I like am digging into this and I can barely get any color on my finger. And when I use a brush, I can hardly get any of this. So it's just not worth it. It was a free item anyway, so it's not like I'm losing my money. And I've got a ton of highlighters. I can't be having any extra that aren't working for me, so letting this one go. Also letting go of a Super Shock shadow. I'm letting go of Ritz, but they brought it back for their taupe collection. I think it was called That's Taupe, and it was inspired by Snake Eyes. And this, I really wanted to love and like, but the reality is, it is just a glitter topper, and it's got like a weird, just a weird tone to it. And when I've applied it over shadow, one, it's a wicked pain in the butt because a lot of glitter will drop down under my eyes, which I loathe. And two, it doesn't really like do much to the actual look. It doesn't really enhance it or translate it into something different and unique. So I just don't want to keep it in my collection anymore because it's not a go-to. So it's just not doing it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. Additionally, I've decided to let go of a product that came in an Itsy bag. So we're talking pretty old. It's from Nomad Cosmetics. It is the Stockholm Illuminated Highlighting Powder, I believe in Midnight Sun. So I originally had kept this not to use as a highlighter, but as a single eyeshadow. And unfortunately, as like soft and lovely as this looks, it doesn't create much of an impact on my eyes. Like it almost looks liquidy here in the swatch, but that's not what I get on my eyeballs, which is super sad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let this go. I mean, for a single shadow to really have a presence in my collection, it has to very much stand out for me to want to pull it over just going with whatever's in a palette. And I don't feel like this pulls me in enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and part ways with her. And our final item that I'm saying goodbye to is a sparkly one, again from Stylevana. I feel really bad decluttering some of these items, but some of the products I was sent, I was not in control of any of them, don't really fit in with my lifestyle. And so I have this one that I'm just gonna go ahead and let leave me. It's the Jewel Potent Glitter Liner from, I think it's from Jewel Potent, and it's in the shade 01. This product, I gotta say, if you have a use for this product, this is awesome. It holds up really well. It actually has a presence. I was doing it over black eyeliner and I like the look of it quite a bit. And I knew in my everyday life, this was not gonna be a product that I'd be pulling out all the time, but I had my heart set on wearing it specifically to the Lady Gaga concert that I have front row seats to at Fenway that was supposed to happen this past August and was sadly once again postponed because of COVID. In my heart of hearts, I don't think the concert is going to happen, and I'm trying to like tell myself that so I'm not devastated when it actually gets canceled. But I just don't know how many times in my life I'm going to have front row Lady Gaga tickets. Like probably never. Like, it's probably the one chance, and I didn't even pay through the nose for them at Fenway. So I will find a way to overcome that when the cancellation does in fact happen. For now, I'm holding out hope. So I just know in my life, without that event, I don't have a need to hold on to this and wear it. It's going to expire before I can really use it again. It's not something that I find myself wanting to like on the weekend pull out a look and do, because again, I'm gonna go to like the movies and dinner with my husband. And even though like it doesn't matter to him what's on my face, I still feel like it's a bit much. So not gonna go ahead and keep this. It's a bummer because it's really nice. And if you have a market for this, if you're the kind of person who pulls this out and uses it, it is great. I highly recommend it, but it just doesn't fit my makeup style, which is a little sad. So now that we've talked about items that I just organically tried out and decided couldn't stay in my collection, I also, as I'm preparing for this video, found myself thinking like there were certain items on the chopping block that I figured I'd go ahead and share with you guys. And since I'm still very much in the mode of scrutinizing my collection, I figured I would at least do one more follow-up with these items, if not having other things that I've also scrutinized. So the first thing I have is kind of a hodgepodge of items that are tucked inside this ColourPop magnetic palette. Basically, again, at the start of the year, I had shown you guys my big black palette, my just giant palette that I had put any single shadows or shadows that I had taken out of palettes before trashing, or other face palettes, like just a different variety of things that don't come in their own palette. And I had told you guys that I really wanted to scrutinize the face products that were in there. And I was on a good track for a bit, and then I totally fell off the wagon. And I just want to make a decision about those in particular because I have quite a few highlighters and blushes. And so I want to know if there's something in that black palette that is so much more exceptional or really good that I want to rival it up against my standalone blushes, and then maybe make some more choices, because your girl does not need so many blushes and I don't need a ton of highlighters, because being so fair skinned, it doesn't take much product to put color on my face. So I'll have these things for years. So this is what it looks like in here. Basically what I've got is I have these 5 Tarte blushes that came out in like a Christmas collection when I was still kind of on the blush palette train. I have quickly learned after this and the Gwen Stefani X Urban Decay blush palette that I do not need blush palettes. I don't need to acquire that many blushes at once, but I really do like the Tarte formula. So I figured I would try out these colors. I can't imagine I'm gonna keep all of them, but I wanted to know. Then I have this puppy right here. This is a Lorac highlighter. It came in one of their like fall collections that I bought at a Nordstrom rack. And the only thing I wanted to keep from there was the like highlighty color. And it's a different kind of highlighter for me, so I do want to give it a try. I've got this big circle highlighter. It is the S'il vous plaît pressed powder highlighter from ColourPop. I feel like for a while I was on a Becca dupe. They had, I believe it was the Ice, it was a liquid. Love liquid highlighter, but I feel like liquid highlighter is not what it once was. I was on like a dupe for that, and I feel like I learned in an article that this was supposed to be a dupe. I'm not sure if it is though, so I gotta test it out. And then this is a blush from Sydney Grace. What is this called? This is the First Date. This was sent as part of like the Christmas in July, like one of the specials. So I didn't seek this out, it just came. And again, I don't need this many blushes. So I wanna put it in here because oftentimes I get sidetracked by what is in my blush tray and what I'm working on in my project pan. And I lose sight of the importance of scrutinizing this. So hopefully we'll get that worked through. I also have another highlighter that I want to try out. It's the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Multi-Stick in Light Up My Hibiscus. It basically looks like this. I love this. I recall loving it when I first owned it, but I just don't ever reach for it. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little hesitant. I don't know if I will still prefer it, but I just need to try it and test it out, especially because I have a lot of highlighters. I don't need to have a bloated highlighter collection. So we'll give this a whirl and see if it is something unique enough and wearable enough for me still to hang around. And rounding us off, I have two products from the same collection. These are the e.l.f. Putty Bronzers. I do not have very many bronzers in my collection, which I'm very happy with, and I'd like to maintain that. But when e.l.f. dropped these, I was immediately reminded of the NYX Contour Stick. It was the Light and Contour Shader Stick that I panned at the tail end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I'm pretty sure. And I really liked the contour part of it. I basically wore it as a bronzer, but neither here nor there. But I wasn't gonna keep buying it knowing that I wouldn't use half the product. It just felt silly. And I felt like those gave me the vibes I was looking for. I ended up buying two because I swear, e.l.f.'s website is the hardest website for me to really differentiate shades for. Like, I feel like I have a really hard time figuring out the right shade for me. I mean, hence if we reflect back on when I purchased nearly all of their concealers when they first were bringing out the raved about concealers. And I swear, I still, even in person, can't tell a ton of difference between the ones that I have, but whatever. So online, I purchased the Tan Lines and Feelin' Shady ones. And I have been mostly playing with Feelin' Shady because I think it's a little bit cooler, which is what I'm after. I don't love a super warm bronzer on me because it pulls orange. So this is what Feelin' Shady looks like. And it's not very intense, which I'm not super upset about. And this is what Tan Lines looks like. Yeah, I just, swatching it, I just don't know. But I haven't actually put Tan Lines on my face because this is like one of the final steps of my makeup routine. I'm always like, do I blow it? Do I put Tan Lines and like blow the whole makeup look? I just need to get over it and try it one day, like a low risk day, like a Saturday when I'm not really going anywhere super important, because I just want to figure out if this tone even works for me. If not, it's out. But I will also admit to you, Feelin' Shady, I don't know. I've got it on today. I feel like it doesn't exist throughout the day. Like, I think I apply a pretty decent amount of it. And I think over the course of the day, it either fades or my skin just sucks it up. So I just want to keep paying attention to it and make a decision about whether or not I think that the formula is what I'm after. I definitely think I'm preferring the Feel and Shady color, but I just want to make sure I get a really solid effort into it. And if I don't put it on the chopping block, I'll probably just go back to my Juvia's Place Duo bronzer that I have and never really sort this out, and I need to sort it out. So we'll see how this all goes. All right, guys, so there you have it. A bunch of products that I decided to organically get rid of for various reasons, and then some focusing on products for another chat with you. We'll see if I have any other products that I had focused on between now and my next update, but I really hope you appreciated hearing my thoughts on these. I'd love to know your thoughts on any of these, especially on the bronzer putty from e.l.f. because it's a pretty new product, but I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts and that you're having a fabulous day. I very much appreciate you being here, and I'll talk to you in my next video real soon.